Good morning, my name is Juan José Cadena Arroyo, and this is my exposition about a project's knowledge areas. So a project has 10 knowledge areas in order to do a complete management of a project. These areas are project integration management, project scope management, project time management, the management of project costs, quality management of the project human resources management, project communications management, project risk management, project procurement management, and management of the project stakeholders. Let's see one by one. Project integration management consists of all the coordination process of all the elements that the project contains. As its name says, it integrates all of the project management processes. This includes coordinating tasks, resources, stakeholders, and any other project elements. In addition, managing conflict between the aspects of a project, making trade-offs between competing requests, and evaluating resources. Project integration management can help with a lot of managing processes such as schedule, cost, scope, stakeholders, changes, quality, resources, and risks, all the things that is gonna abort the project. Some processes of project integration management are the developing of the project charter, the developing of the project management plan, the direct and manage of the project work, the manage of the project knowledge, the monitor and control of the project work, the performance of integrated change control, and the project closing or project first closing. The project scope management refers to the total amount of work that has to be done in order to deliver a product, service, or result with a specific functional features. It includes everything that must go into a project as well as what defines its success. This also can be taken as the limit defining of a project, since the scope is what are you gonna abort in your project, when it's gonna stop, and how are you gonna do it. Implementing this project scope management process takes a fair amount of time and effort, but in the long run, it will save you time, money, and headaches. These are some of the benefits of using Project Scope Manager. And a good scope management plan involves open communication between all the stakeholders and team members involved in the project. Some of the steps to do a correct project scope management are: the first one is plan your scope, do the correct planning about all the scope, collect the requirement that you will need in order to do the project, define your scope, have a complete and defined plan for your scope, create a work breakdown structure so you can organize better the work breakdown and the things that everyone is going to do and what requirement is going to do what thing, validate your scope, verify that everything is on the right place, that the scope aborts everything that the project is going to abort, and control your scope, keep track of it, don't go out of it, don't let your teamwork go out of it. Project time management involves analyzing and developing a schedule and timeline for project completion. Formalized time management processes provide a buffer for things like unexpected roadblocks and misestimated project timelines. This is the time tracking methods that you're gonna use for your project. The time tracking, this also involves everything you're gonna cover, in what time are you gonna covering it, the deadline for the project develop and delivery, all of the kind of things. This time management plan defines what tasks to adjust and how to allocate and manage resources throughout the project. Some processes of the project time management are planning of the schedule management, defining activities, sequence activities, estimate resources and duration of those activities, develop the project schedule, and do the controlling of the schedule. Some benefits that the project time management can give you are less stress for your work team, the increased productivity for your work team, the fewer mistakes that your work team will make, the improved proficiency of your work team, more opportunities on the activity that the work team has to do, the staying on budget due to the time, and meet your goals at the time. Some of the best practices to use on project time management are the Pareto principle, the keep it simple so you don't have to overcomplicate you, the observe and analyze how time expenditure, keep track of how time expends in every activity, act instead of worry of things, break larger goals into smaller steps and break one at a time, set daily, weekly, and monthly goals for your project, take short breaks, and work when you have the most energy. The management of the project costs is the process of estimating, allocating, and controlling project costs. This allows a business to predict future expenses to reduce the chances of budget overrun. Project costs are calculated during the planning phase of a project and must be approved before work begins, in order to have a complete limit and a complete idea of how much you can spend in the project. Some benefits of challenges that this management can have on its implementation are: some benefits are that prevents the overruns, avoids the risks, and aids future planning, but the challenges are the possible lack of resources, the inaccurate estimation, and the use of outdated technology due to the project budget. Some tools that can help the management of project costs can be the budgeting, knowing what you are going to do and what are you going to spend on what and why. Time tracking software, so you keep track of time of all your work team in order to don't do overruns and don't delay the project. And reporting and analytic tools due to the project costs. Quality management on a project is the process of continually measuring the quality of all activities and taking corrective action until the desired quality is achieved. Quality management process helps to control the cost of a project, establish standards, and determine the steps to achieving and confirming those standards. Effective quality management of a project also lowers the risk of project failure or unsatisfied, unhappy clients. The quality management of a project has three processes. The first is the planning, which a good quality management plan starts with a clear definition of the goal of the project. This includes assessing the risk to success, setting high standards, documenting everything, and defining the method and tests to achieve, control, predict, and verify success. This is the initial plan of the higher quality you want to get on your project. The second one is the quality assurance, which is the process that provides evidence to the stakeholders that all quality-related activities are being done as defined and promised. It ensures that safeguards are in place to guarantee that all expectations will be met with regard to quality outputs. This is what you are going to show to all the stakeholders, all the people that is interested in the project, so they know that the quality meeting of the project is going to be met. And quality control, which involves operational techniques meant to ensure quality standards. This includes identifying, analyzing, and correcting programs. This is done while the project is done. So the quality control is when you control the quality of the project in every step you're doing while the project is being developed. As you can see, while quality assurance occurs before a problem is identified, quality control is reactionary and occurs after a problem has been identified and suggests methods of improvement. The quality management can give a working team the following benefits: the doing of quality products, the customer satisfaction, the increased productivity, the financial gains, and remove silos and get better teamwork. And some tools for quality management project are affinity diagrams, process decision program charts, interrelationship diagrams, prioritization matrices, network diagrams, and matrix diagrams. Project human resources management includes the processes that organize, manage, and lead the project team. The project team is composed of the people with assigned roles and responsibilities for completing the project. Project team's members may have varied skill sets and may be assigned full or part-time and may be added or removed for the team as the project progresses. As the title says, this is all the human resources you can use for your project. All of the human part, all of the human talents, human abilities, human capabilities that your team has, and how to use them to your favor in order to complete the project. Some of the processes of this human resources management are the plan human resources management, the planning of it, how are you going to do it, who is going to do what thing, and then acquire, develop, and manage project team in order to get the team, develop them so they know what they have to do, and manage them so you can keep track of them, keep track of the work. And some of the outcomes that you can acquire from project human resources are a resource management plan, and a staffing plan, a resource breakdown structure, and a team performance assessment tools. And some benefits of this human resource management are creating a standardized recording hiring process, establishing productivity and performance measures for the team, organizing, documenting, and storing information on employees and potential hires, tracking hiring costs against budgets and forecasts, and tying the cost of human resource efforts to actual business outcomes. Project communication management is a collection of processes that help make sure the right messages are sent, received, and understood by the right people. There are three primary project communication management processes. These are plan communication management, completely do the plan of what do you want to say, what do you want to communicate, manage communications, and monitor those communications. The steps for the communication management plan are the following. The first is decide your objectives. What do you want to say? What are you going to say? What do you want to achieve saying that? The second step is determine your audience. Who are you going to say that to? Who is going to receive the message? 3 is write the message. What do you want to say? How do you want to say it? What are the proper words in order to say that message? The fourth one is to choose your channel. How are you going to say it? Are you going to send a text? Are you going to call them? Are you going to email them? And 5, and last step is set a timeline, which is where are you going to say it? Are you going to say it in the morning before the work starts? Are you going to say it before the project starts? While the project starts? The process of project communication management can be collection and analysis of data, creation of messages for communication, transmission or distribution of communications, storage of any communication reports, files, or documents, retrieval of any stored communications, disposal of any old communication upon project closure or as a date. Project risk management is the process of identifying, analyzing, and responding to any risk that arises over the life cycle of a project to help the project remain on track and meet its goal. Risk management isn't reactive only, it should be part of the planning to figure out the risk that might happen in the project and how to control that risk if it in fact occurs. So you have to either predict or react to any risk that can show up in the development of the project. There are a lot of risks, a lot of different kind of risks that can show up in the main time of the project development. The risk management steps are the following. First, you have to identify the risk, know what the risk is, then analyze it. How can it trigger? When it may trigger? Then prioritize it, know if it's a complete priority to your team to cover that risk, or if it's a low priority so you don't have to worry about it now and then worry about other risks. Assign an owner to the risk, know who is going to work on that risk, who is going to take charge of that. Respond to the risk, do a response, don't just stay and let the risk happen, just respond and do a response to the risk, and then monitor the risk. Do whatever it takes to take advantage of the risk or prevent the risk if it's a negative risk. As we were talking, there are two kinds of risks, the positive and the negative risks. The positive risks are opportunities that can affect the project in a beneficial ways, and you should take the better advantage, the most advantage you can take of it. And the negative risk implies something unwanted that has the potential to irreparably damage a project. Those are the risks that you want to avoid at all costs and do you want to get at any cost or at any part of your project development. Some tips to respond to a positive risk are: first, you want to know if the risk is something you can exploit. This means figuring out ways to increase the likelihood of that risk occurring, because if you want that risk to occur, you want to increase the probability of it to occur. Next, you may want to share the risks. Sometimes you alone are not going to take full advantage of the risk, and by involving others, you increase the opportunity of yielding the most positive outcome from this risk. And finally, there may be nothing to do at all, and that's exactly what you should do. Nothing! You can apply this to negative risk as well, for not doing something is sometimes the best thing you can do when confronted with an expertise in the context of your project. Project procurement management takes the management of the procurement, which is the act of obtaining goods, supplies, and/or services. Therefore, project procurement is obtaining all of the materials and services required for the project. Project procurement management encompasses the processes used for making sure project procurement is successful. It includes 3 primary processes that are planned procurements, conduct procurements, and administer or control procurements. The first step in the successful project procurement management is making a plan. This includes planning for the following. What are all the materials and services you will require for the project? What can be provided by your company and what you should purchase elsewhere, which is caused by the make versus buy decision. What are your control requirements for outside purchases? Do you have the required delivery dates? Do you want a fixed price contract or cost reimbursable? Are there key milestones to be included? What about legal terms and conditions that must be met? How will you search for suppliers of the materials or the services you need? Will you release a request for proposal or RFP? Do you have a preferred supplier? What are the criteria for who will win the work? Will it be based on price if all contract requirements are met? Is there another way to evaluate bidders? Some of the outputs of project procurement management are RFP forms, the vendor selection criteria, the statements of work, the documented make or buy decisions, change request forms or process documentation, and any other risks will be added to the risk register and risk management plan. There are two roles in project procurement management are the conduct procurement, so that the status or progress updates from vendors and the quality checks of products or service delivered, and the project manager role, which will be in charge of the planning process and controlling all the procurements needed. Finally, we've got the management of the project stakeholders, which any project is a success if it meets its objectives or fulfills, which are the expectations of its project stakeholders. This is the project manager's responsibility to manage and even influence key stakeholders' expectations as well as our requirements. Stakeholders analysis. Before any stakeholder management can occur, you need to know who your key stakeholders are. Stakeholders analysis is where you clarify stakeholders and identify all their needs and requirements. This is where you want to know what do the customer need, what do the executives need, what do the vendors need, what do your providers need, your teamwork need, what do you need. Part of this analysis includes their information needs. When you're assembling a project communication plan, you will know what information they will need, the sources for that information, and the methods and technology you will use to deliver that info. There are some strategies that you can use when you have to deal with a specific stakeholder. For example, the customers, you know the key is the knowledge. Gathering data on the customer's need, culture, and business pains, and then documenting it all before the project execution starts will always help the conflicts arise. The project team members, the key is to managing team's expectations and constant communication. Schedule informal one-on-one meetings with each team member to get insight into the group's mood. Let them know you can be approached anytime. The key for the executives is presenting them with a comprehensive plan with milestones, then continuously update them on project risks based on their information needs. And finally, for the resource managers, the key is establishing a good relationship. If you're in a good standing with any resource manager, your request for equipment or manpower will never be roadblocked. I hope you all like my exposition. Thank you all for your attention.